Hi, and welcome to Cooking the Books with Heather. Today we're going to be making spice rubbed flank steak with cucumber and charred onion relish from the Deep Run Roots cookbook. And I'm just going to get into it today because we've got a lot to do. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you how she says to chop the cucumbers. I went ahead and peeled them, pretty easy, but she says to slice basically around the edges, so you leave most of the seeds. I don't know exactly how well I'm doing with that. I've never done that before. Usually if I don't want the seeds, I slice them in half and then just scoop out the seeds with a spoon. So we're not going to use this part right here, and these parts we're going to cut into a 1/2 inch dice. And I'm just going to put those that I've sliced into this bowl right here for what we're going to do with them later. So I'm going to keep going with all of my cucumbers and get those done, and then I'll show you what we do next. Okay, I'm all done cutting up all of my cucumbers, and now all I have to do is toss this with some salt and probably try not to get salt all over my counter. So I've got some salt here, and we're going to toss this, and then we're going to set this in a colander to drain for at least 30 minutes. So these will give up some of their water and it'll drain off. So I've got a colander sitting in my sink, and I'm just going to put that in there. The only other thing I need to do for this cucumber and charred onion relish is cut up the red onions, peel them and cut them up into 1/4 inch slices. We'll see how that goes. And then we're going to grill those. I don't think we're going to show you the grilling step, but the point is to keep the slices intact. You keep the slices intact, the whole onion slices intact, because it's easier to sort of manipulate them on the grill that way. So this is a lot like what we did with the charred squash and onion from Poole's Diner, except slightly thinner slices. And I think that'll just have to do for that one. It's fine. So we're going to go ahead and grill these because they need to cool off, and then we need to go ahead and make our relish, and it needs to sit for about 2 hours. So even though we're grilling our meat later, we're going to go ahead and grill these now. So we'll be back. Like I said, I'm not going to show you the grilling step. So we brush these with oil and put the rest of the salt on these, and we grill them until they're nicely charred and limp. So basically you want them pretty much done. So I'll show you what they look like when we're done. So I've grilled my onions, and I took a picture of those, so you should have seen that. My cucumbers have been basically not really marinating, but salted and draining for quite a while now. And now we're ready to put together the relish, the cucumber and charred onion relish. So I've got some garlic that was grated on a microplane in this bowl that I'm going to put everything in. I forgot a spoon. Okay. And we're just going to combine everything into this bowl. So I'm going to go ahead and put my cucumbers in here. That's the third piece I've lost on the floor. Oh, not quite to the floor yet. cucumbers. Oh, now it's on the floor. We're gonna put our onions in here. She doesn't say to cut these up, and the pictures look like they are just like this. So we're just gonna put them in like this. This is gonna be a small bowl for what we need, but everything else is small, so that's all right. We've got oregano. All of this stuff is minced. We've got parsley, which I always choose flat leaf Italian parsley. We've got mint. We've got lemon juice. Oh yeah, let's go ahead and do, let's see, some chili flakes here. These are just red pepper flakes. And some sugar. And then we've got some sherry vinegar and olive oil. And that is it for this relish. We're just gonna mix it all up and hopefully not put more of it on my countertop when we do. But she does say that you should let this sit for at least 2 hours before you serve it. So that is what we're doing. That's why we're gonna go ahead and get this all ready to go for dinner tonight. I'm gonna call that good for now, and I'll probably put this in the refrigerator. I don't remember if she says that's what you should do or not, but I'm gonna go ahead and do that and keep it cool, and it'll be ready for our flank steak, great, later tonight. Okay, so we've gone ahead and made our cucumber relish, and now we're gonna put together the spice rub for our flank steak. And let's see, we've got some salt. And some sugar. Just regular white sugar. And I think the rest is, oh, no, tablespoon. So we've got paprika. This is just plain sweet paprika, not smoked. I think we ran out of smoked, actually. Some paprika. Some cumin, some ground cumin seed. There we go. And then, oh, some garlic. Powdered, granulated garlic, which looks like I need to get some more of soon. There we go. And then, I thought for sure, I guess not. I thought cayenne was in this, but I guess not. And then some pepper. All right. I think it's worth it to like grind out your pepper and know exactly how much like is a teaspoon, but I've never actually done that. But so we're just gonna mix this up, and this will get put onto our flank steaks. You want it to be at least 30 minutes before you cook them, but it could be, you could rub them and then put them in the refrigerator and leave them overnight, and then just take them out 30 minutes before you cook them, to sort of come a little bit up to, it doesn't really come up to room temperature, but it does sort of take the chill off, so it'll cook a little bit quicker. And still have a few little balls of paprika in there, but it'll be fine. So that's our rub for our flank steak. So we made our rub, and we've got 2 flank steaks, about 1.5 pounds each. This should serve 6 people. And we're going to rub all of this all over them. So I'm not going to worry about too much about, you know, contaminating my bowl of stuff. just going to get these rubbed down all over the place. There's a lot of rub here, so I'm not being, I'm being pretty generous. And then we need to get the other side. There, they are all covered. And now I'm gonna, it's gonna be a couple hours at this point before we cook it. So I'm just gonna put it in the refrigerator and bring it back out about 30 minutes to an hour before we cook it. So it'll not be too cold. So we'll come back when we're ready to cook. So now we're ready to cook the flank steak. Got the grill on really high. I'm going to brush these with vegetable oil so they don't stick on the grill. And again, I've poured some out, so I don't really care about cross-contamination here. I'm gonna only do this on the uncooked, both of them. All right, so that's good for this side, and I'm gonna go ahead and put them on the grill. And we're going to try to cook at least one of them medium rare, probably this larger one. And then the smaller one, we're going to try to get a little bit more done because my father-in-law is here and he likes his more towards medium. So I'm going to brush the other side with vegetable oil. And we let these go for about 3 minutes, she says, before you turn them over. And do that for about 3 minutes. And then she says to move them to a cooler side of the grill. But as you can see, I have a relatively small grill. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a great grill. Ugh. It's a great grill. It gets really good and hot, which is nice. Really like it. It's attached to our smoker, but I only have one side. So all I'll do is turn the heat down and let it cook for about 5 minutes, 5 minutes per side, I think she said. I'll check again afterwards. So I'm gonna try to get these about 3 minutes. And we'll probably fast forward this. All right, this has been 3 minutes. Got a good char on that side. Flip them over. Now I'm going to take this inside and be back in about 3 minutes for the other side to turn it down. All right, it's been another 3 minutes. I rinsed off my, washed off my tongs so that they wouldn't contaminate the cooked stuff. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over this way. This side didn't get quite as good a char on it, so and I'm going to turn it down to a little bit below medium, and I'm going to close the lid. She doesn't say to do this, but just to be sure that they cook through. And I'm going to go get a temperature probe so that I can check to see that it really does get to a good temperature. So I'm pretty good at judging if it's sort of medium rare. Medium is a little bit, we don't generally cook things medium very much. So just to verify, I'm going to go get a temperature probe. It's been about 4 minutes and I felt like it was pretty good on that side. So I'm going to let it finish cooking on this side, and I'm going to check to see where we are. It's kind of smoky. Yeah, we're not quite up to medium rare yet on that one. Or this one. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave the lid off for it to finish cooking, because that other, I have these little yellow flies that have all of a sudden decided they really like it here when I'm grilling, and I don't know what's going on with those. And they apparently like my phone too. Anyway, So we're going to let this finish cooking until we get it to our desired temperature, and then once it's to your desired temperature, you'll let it sit for about 10 minutes before you slice it, and then you slice it very thinly across the grain. It's really easy, especially on this other side here, to tell which way the grain runs, and I know that both of them go sort of this way. So you just slice them very thinly that way and serve slices with the relish, and you'll get pictures of what it looks like at that point. On this episode of Cooking the Books with Heather, we made spice rubbed flank steak with cucumber and charred onion relish. You can maybe see a little picture of that in the Deep Run Roots cookbook from Vivian Howard. We made it for guests, and it was pretty easy. Let's see. It does require a few steps, like charring the onions and cutting the cucumbers sort of off of their seeds, which is a different method than I've ever used before, and then salting them and letting them drain. So there's a little bit of time there, a little bit of extra time there. You make your spice rub, bringing the steaks up to temperature. But the steaks themselves cook very quickly, and you can have all of the cucumber relish done and ready, well before that, and it will be fine. In fact, it lasts in the refrigerator for quite a while because there's a lot of vinegar in that. It's kind of like a pickled relish because there is, let's see, some sherry vinegar in it. So, it was relatively easy, and you could definitely time it to have guests like we did. Mine didn't turn out quite as beautifully red inside as that, but it didn't require any extra. Well, I say that it doesn't require any special tools, but you are supposed to cook the steak on a grill, but you could easily do that on a grill pan or maybe even in a broiler if you don't have a grill or have access to a grill. So, I think everybody could probably make this, and it was relatively easy. And my father-in-law, who does not like cucumbers, still ate the cucumbers, so that was good. They were a little bit more like a pickle, which he will eat. So that's good. However, there's some red chili flakes in it that really did come through and make it a little bit spicy. So if you don't like spice, I would definitely cut that down, if not completely out. But 2 teaspoons, it was a little spicy. So if you can handle a little bit of heat, it was fine. But if you can't handle much at all, 1 teaspoon would probably be good enough. But that's it. I think that was a good recipe and something that we could do relatively easily without too much advanced warning. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Cooking the Books with Heather, and please remember to like and subscribe if you did, and come back and see another video with us next week.